Hi friends, in today's lecture we will study how to use the Xlookup function of Excel. The first thing which you ought to know before you start using Xlookup is that this function as of now is available only and only in Office 365. So if you do not have a version of Office 365, then you will not be able to use this function called as the Xlookup. However, Microsoft is taking all the efforts to incorporate Office 365 into the computers of everyone who is having Microsoft Office. So if not today, I'm sure tomorrow you will definitely have Office 365, and in that you will be urged to use this function which is called as the Xlookup. So it's a versatile function and much more powerful than the VLOOKUP. So I made a series of examples and we'll see them one by one in order to explore the Xlookup function. So here you can see that I have provided a file called as Xlookup, and the link for downloading this file is given in the description of this video. So in this file you can see that you have fields like item ID, item name, date and sales. Now first I will show you how you can extract the sale amount based on the item ID using the VLOOKUP function, and then we will see in what way Xlookup is different over VLOOKUP. So I'll come over here and I will type equal to VLOOKUP, open parenthesis. Now it is first asking me what value you want to look. So I want to look this value, so I click over here and then I give comma. Now it is asking me table array, that is where you would like to search that value. You have to specify a table. So I will select from year to year the entire data, comma. Then it is asking me that you want to pick up the data from which column. This is first column, second column, third column and fourth column. Now I want to pick up the data from the fourth column, that is sale. So I type 4 and then I just close parenthesis and hit enter. So you can see that it has picked up the value as 22. Now let us see how you can get that same value using Xlookup. So over here I will type equal to Xlookup, open parenthesis. Now it is asking me what value to look up. So I click over here, then I give a comma. Now it is asking me where you want to look for that value. So instead of specifying the table array, I have to give only the column where it has to search that value. Then I give a comma. Then it is asking me return array, means from which column you want to pick up the data. So I specify this column. I do not give any other parameters. I just close the parenthesis and hit enter and it gets me the result. Now the beauty of the Xlookup function is that later on if you add any columns or subtract any columns, it will not make any difference in the end result. The end result will remain the same. Example, if I go over here and I add a column, you can see that the result is remained the same, but in VLOOKUP the result has changed. So now it is showing me the date. Same way, if I delete a column, again you can see in Xlookup The function remains the same, but in VLOOKUP there is a error. So this is the first advantage of the Xlookup function. Now let us try to use the Xlookup function. Instead of item ID, I want to find out based on the item name the corresponding sales figure. So again I will type equal to Xlookup open parenthesis, what value to look up, this value, comma, where to look up for that value. So this time I will say in this column, comma, you want to pick up the value from which column, this column, close parenthesis and hit enter. Sorry. So for monitor, it has picked up the corresponding value as 23. Okay, now let us assume that I type some figure or an item name which is not existing at all. So let us say that I type over here RAM. Now in that case, it is giving me #NA error. So when the value is not found, Xlookup gives a #NA. But if you want to take care of this situation, then what you can do in the Xlookup, after you have given the third parameter, you give a comma, and then if not found, what you want to do. So I want to give a message not found. Okay, or you can write any message of your choice in quotation marks, and I close parenthesis and I hit enter. Now if I type some item name which is not existing and I hit enter, it will give me that that item is not found. Now let us take another example. So I have provided one more sheet. If you see at the bottom, right to left Xlookup. So I click over here. Now this time, basis the date, I want to pull out the item name. Now had you been using the VLOOKUP function, then VLOOKUP would not work in such a scenario, because VLOOKUP always searches for the value on the right. But in this scenario, we have the value on the left. So let us see how to use the Xlookup in this scenario. So I will type equal to Xlookup open parenthesis, what value to look up, I select this value, comma, lookup array, so I will select this is the array, comma, return array, from which column you want to pull the data, from this column, and then you can fill the other column, the other parameter if not found. Right now I'm not filling that, I'm just closing parenthesis and hitting enter. So you can see for 1/1/2020 it has picked up the value as mouse. So although the data was on the left side of the item you are searching, still Xlookup works. So Xlookup works left to right or right to left anyhow, whereas VLOOKUP only works from left to right. Let's see another example. Now over here what I want to do, I have a item ID, and basis that ID I want to find out three information. So for 101 I want to find out the item name, sale, and the sale 1 and the sale 2 price also. So how do we do that? So let me show you. So I will type equal to Xlookup open parenthesis, what value to look up, this value, comma, where to look up, over here, comma, return array. Now this time instead of giving only the item name, I will select all the three columns and I would close parenthesis and hit enter. So you can see for 101 it has found mouse and it has found the sale 1 and the sales 2 figure also. If I type some other value 104 and hit enter, so for 104 it has found printer and 32 and 12. Now one thing which you have to note over here, that if I go to sale 1 figure and I press delete, it will not work. Same way, if I go to sale 2 and I press delete, it will not work. So if you want to delete this data, you have to come into that cell in which the formula is present and then delete it, and only then the data would get deleted. Now we'll see another example. This time what I want to do, for this particular item number or item ID, I want to find out the total of sale 1 and sale 2. Example, for 104 I want to find out 32 plus 12, that is 44. So how do we do that? Again, Xlookup can do this very easily. So I will just delete the old and I'll type equal to Xlookup. I give open bracket. What value to look up? This value, comma, where to look up? Over here, comma, return array. Now this time I will select this, then I will give plus and I will select this, then I will close bracket and hit enter. So you can see that for 104 it has added 32 plus 12, that is 44. Let us see for 101, hit enter. So it is 23 plus 22 and that is 45. So this is also a unique feature of Xlookup which is not possible in VLOOKUP. Now let's see another example. Now here what I want to do, I am having some item ID and I want to pick up the corresponding item name, the corresponding date and the corresponding sale. But if that item ID is not existing in the list, I want that it should match to the next greater or the next smaller. So how to do that? That we will see in this example. So I'll delete the old value and here I will type equal to Xlookup, open parenthesis, what value to look up? I'll say this, comma, where to look up? In this column, comma, what you want to return? I want to return item name, date and the sale value, comma, if not found. So right now I don't want to enter anything, so I'll just type a comma. Now this is very important. It is asking me, do you want an exact match? Now by default it is always an exact match, but this time I will select one, that is exact match or the next greater. So I will type 1 and I would close parenthesis and I would hit enter. So you can see 123 is not existing. So what it does, it finds the next greater to 123 and that is 140, sorry, that is 124 and that is mouse, and hence it prints this. Let us take example like 165. So I'll go over here and I will type 165. So again 165 is not existing. So the next greater, it finds scanner and it pulls the data for it. Same way, let's say 157. So 157, it is not existing. So it finds the next greater, that is hard disk, and pulls it. Now Instead of the next greater, I want the next smaller. So instead of 1, you just type minus 1. So let's come over here, and where we had entered 1, I will just enter a minus. So now it goes to find 157. It is not finding it. So the next earlier, that is 150, and it finds scanner and it pulls the data. Same way, let's type 141. So 141 is not existing. So it finds the next earlier to 141, that is 140, and picks up the data for printer and shows you the data. Remember, I am not typing anything for 0 because 0 is the default search mode of Xlookup. Let's see one more example. Now in this example, what I want to do is, the date is there, basis the date, I want to pull the sale figure. Okay. However, I want to use a search mode. So earlier we had seen match mode. Now we are going to see the search mode. So I will type equal to Xlookup, what value you want to search. So this value, this is where it has to search. I accidentally selected this. So this is where it has to search, comma, return array is this, comma, if not found, I don't want to enter any, match mode, I don't want anything, and the search mode, I want to find last two first. And then I close parenthesis and I hit enter. So it goes from bottom, and 1st January 20 it finds here and pulls up the data, that is 32. So this is the search mode, that is Xlookup has the feature that it can search from bottom to top, or it can also search top to bottom. Whereas in VLOOKUP, it always searches the data from top to bottom only. Now the last example is Xlookup horizontal. So what if your data is present this way in a horizontal fashion? So if your data is present horizontally and you want to find the value basis the item ID, again Xlookup can help you, just like HLOOKUP. So you say Xlookup, open bracket, what to search 140, comma, where to search in this value, comma, return array. So I want the return array from here, and I will close parenthesis and hit enter. So for 140 it finds printer. If I type 110, it will find mouse. So Xlookup can also work like HLOOKUP, like VLOOKUP, plus more. So I have shared with you many examples today in order to understand Xlookup. That is, we have seen Xlookup horizontal, then we have seen Xlookup search mode, then we have seen Xlookup match mode, then we have seen multiple Xlookup, then we have seen right to left and left to right Xlookup, and finally we had seen the basic Xlookup. So friends, hope you have learned something new. If you like this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. We'll see you again in the next video. Till that time, goodbye.